Hi everybody, my name is Brian Roberts, and in this video we're going to expand upon the picking rudiment exercise, taking the idea of alternate picking quarter notes and taking it to the next level. So what we're going to do is we're going to condition ourselves to feeling a measure properly. That's just a fancy word for saying 4 beats, or in other words 4 clicks, 1, 2, 3, 4, that's one measure. And knowing what to do with that in this particular exercise. So the main point of this game is to select notes that are surrounded by strings. The example I've been using is D on the A string, which is the 5th fret of the A string. That happens to be a D. And I set the metronome to a controlled tempo around 80 BPM, beats per minute. And if you watch the previous video, what you're going to do to start off with is to strictly alternate pick, which means you're going to go down, up. No matter what you do, you're always going to go down, up in that order. We're going to time it to the metronome. We're going to play every single time the metronome clicks. And that's kind of where we started off with, right? Now to add a little challenge to this is after a measure, so if you counted 4 beats, 1, 2, 3, 4, at this point we would shift gears and we will switch to playing 8th notes. So what is an 8th note? Well, an 8th note is half of a quarter note, which means you're going to play 2 notes in the space of 1 beat. So it sounds like this. If these are quarter notes, 8th notes are like this. Okay, got it? So the challenge here is shifting gears. So after one measure, we're going to switch to 8ths, and then back to quarters. 1, 2, 3, 4, switch to 8ths, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, back to quarters, 1, 2, 3, switch to 8ths, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. See if you can do it without me coaching. And so on and so forth. I mean, it doesn't really matter if you play for a length of time and switch at an inconsistent point. This is just an arbitrary parameter. So you could just sit there and do quarters for a long time until you get bored, no particular count in mind, and then you go, okay, I'm going to switch. So I'm not really paying attention to how long I'm playing anything. I'm just kind of doing whatever. But I do think it's a good idea to condition yourself to feel 4 beats, because that's generally how musicians measure time, is within a 4-beat measure. What else? If this gets easy for you, you can speed it up, and everything scales, so it's just relative. Now my quarter note is this fast, and my 8th note is like that. So if that's something that piques your interest, go for it. Adversely, if it's too challenging, slow it down. But too slow is also pretty challenging. 8ths. See, it's kind of challenging. Quarters. 8ths. But back to just regular old about 80 BPM. Another challenge you can give yourself is dynamics, and that's just a fancy word for speeding up and slowing down. I mean, not speeding up, slowing. Volume. It's just a fancy word for volume. So, for example, maybe one round I play at a normal volume, so 8ths. Now the second round I'm going to play as loud as I can. And back to normal. And now with this round I play as soft as I possibly can. And then back to normal. So that's another thing you can do in case you start getting bored of this very simple exercise. But if you are, it's time to do the next subdivision, which would be 16th notes, and I'll tell you all about that in the next video.